Okay, call the meeting to order. Roll call, Miss Tina.
Mayor Connie Ball, Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Here.
Alderman Jeff Fancher. Alderman Mike Hansel.
Here.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Here.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Here.
City Attorney Terry Hurst.
Here.
City Administrator James Fincham.
Here.
Okay, we got a motion for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I make a motion to approve.
The motion's been approved and seconded. Alderman Smith approved it.
Second.
Okay.
Bobby second.
Mr.
Bobby second.
Alderman Knight, second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye. Yeah.
Go. All ayes, one yeah.
You didn't ask for none, so I said yeah.
You keep me straight, that's all you got to do. Okay, that's been passed. Proclamation, a recognition of citizen by the mayor. Has he got anybody? Mr. Fincham? I don't.
So this proclamation for elderly abuse awareness?
That's Nick.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't see what you're...
I've got a budget there.
Okay.
Okay. Proclamation, Mr. Terry Hurst going to read the proclamation.
Yes, sir.
Do you want Carlene to come up here with you?
Carlene, is this? Come right on up here. This is a proclamation for the Newport, Tennessee Elder Abuse Awareness Day, June 15, 2018. A society that does not value its elderly people, denies its roots, and endangers its future. Let us strive to enhance their capacity to support themselves for as long as possible, and when they cannot do so, to care for them. Whereas Scott County seniors are valuable members of society, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure that they live safe lives. And whereas it is recognized nationally that for every one report filed about abuse, neglect, or exploitation, there are 24 that go unreported. And whereas abuse of elderly people is a tragedy inflicted against vulnerable seniors and an ever-increasing problem that crosses all socio-economic boundaries in today's society. And whereas seniors should be treated with respect and dignity to enable them to continue to serve as leaders, mentors, volunteers, and important active members of society. And whereas combating abuse and empowering of elderly people will help improve the quality of life for all seniors across this city, allowing them to continue to live as independently as possible, adding to their overall well-being. And whereas we are all responsible for building safer communities for the city of Newport elders, and whereas as the welfare of seniors is in the best interest of all citizens and further adds to the well-being of all city of Newport communities, and now therefore I, Mayor Connie Ball, do hereby proclaim June 15, 2018 as Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and call upon all citizens of Newport, Tennessee, and to recognize the elderly people in our community, and witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and the seal of Newport, Tennessee, the 15th day of June, 2018. Connie Ball.
If you would, I'd like for the rest of the aldermen to come up. We'd like to have a picture made with this bunch right here, please. This bunch. This bunch.
This bunch. Where's the bunch?
Ready?
Thanks, Carly. That didn't last long. I had my breath about passed out. I've got a few comments to make, and Mr. Fincham said I could make them as long as I had the gavel, so I've still got it, so it won't take but a minute to do. Every time we usually always, and I'm doing it tonight too, thank all the departments for all you do. People don't realize a lot of times what y'all do. You're out in the community and you see what's going on. And I'd like to thank Maurice and his bunch for the traffic, helping take care of the traffic jam and stuff down there. Just wanted you to tell you thank you. There's a lot of people we like to thank. So every department, thank y'all for all you do. Another person I'd like to thank is Mr. Gary Carver. And I'd like to also thank Regina and them for, we just got back from a TML meeting today. We're trying to do some things to make Newport better for downtown. We're just trying to improve the city in a lot of ways, and we just wanted to try to get some good ideas. And we got some ideas brought back, and we just got back this afternoon, and just wanted to tell the city thank you for letting us do that. One of the other things, even though Maurice, I told you thank you, but Justin Vinson's been one of the ones I've seen down there the most. All you policemen's involved in it, but tell Justin a special thank you to him. Another person I'd like to say thank you to, I told you about Gary, that people told us when they thought we hired him, said we just did it for political reasons. Well, I can tell you what you want to, but Gary has lived up to his standards. He's talking about how much money and how much stuff and grants he's got. And being down in Knoxville this week with all these engineering companies, they talked about we had a prize from Gary Carver. Said we better keep him, you know. Said that he's got a lot of good ideas, smart ideas, and appreciate that a lot. Clint, did I mention you yet? Appreciate you tell the boys how much we appreciate what they've done downtown. We may have got off to a little slow start, but people forget sometimes that they work 28 straight days, overtime, Saturdays and Sundays, and every time. But you tell them we really appreciate it, okay?
I'll be glad to.
And tell them the good news is that there won't be a person here the next time this has to be done, because it won't have to be done for another 114 years. So that's the good news. I appreciate all what y'all do. Right now, Mr. Fincham, where are your comments?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You sure that's all? And I'll keep deferring to you as long as you like.
I do. I've got the stick.
Yeah. The first thing I just wanted to report on, the summer concert series started last Thursday. Many of y'all were there. We had good weather and a good turnout. I think it's important to get off to a good start. It seems like every year that we've gotten off to a good start, it's continued to build every week. And in the years we've had bad weather and stuff, the next week is kind of down a little bit. So we had good weather. We had a good crowd. Everybody seemed to have a good time. And so we appreciate the Chamber of Commerce and the partnership for what they've done to put that on. This is the 4th year of it, and it gets bigger every year, and I think it's a positive for the Riverwalk and for downtown, kind of building on what you were talking about. You know, one of the things, as you all seen, when I was down there yesterday at the conference, they kept emphasizing about getting people to come into downtown, that's the key element. And so this is one more way that we're trying to bring people into downtown to get them to see, you know, what else there is to do downtown. The second thing I have, and the other thing, is some of you may have noticed or may not, and that's why I wanted to point it out. The fire department has been involved for the last few weeks in a project of painting the fire hydrants. It's been several years since the fire hydrants had been painted. They had kind of got to looking real bad. And so we started a few weeks ago in painting those and getting them to looking good again. And Clint, I'll throw into the mix. Thank you for the paint. NUB provided the paint to paint those, and the firefighters have divvied up the town, and they're going around painting those. And I've seen several of them today along the Morrell Springs Road, and they look much better. And so I'm very pleased with the job they're doing. And I think it helps one more. It sounds like a little thing, but when you see how bad, if anybody had noticed how bad they were looking before and how good they look now, there's a big contrast if there was a before and after picture to look at. And so we appreciate them doing that. And that's all I have, and I'm going to turn it over to Gary now. You got the front end, Gary gets the back end.
I had one other thing to say before Mr. Carver
sorry.
gets it, but I can say it as he walks up through here. One of the things that we learned I learned one of the biggest comments they made, sometimes we get caught up in political things, and one of the themes down there was, we have the right to be different and still be friends. And I thought that stuck with me. No matter how things go, whether we agree or disagree, we've got the right to do that and still be friends. And I appreciate all the press and the papers and stuff being here too. All right, now, Mr. Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I was hoping to have an announcement before the May meeting, and actually we found out the Friday after the meeting. We got into the Tennessee Downtown, Newport got into the Tennessee Downtowns program this go around. We missed out last time, and Lucas and I sort of went on a quest for knowledge across the EDC to find out why we didn't get in. I don't know if we got a good answer about it, but the little bit of feedback we got back, we've already put forth the steps to remedy those things. I guess they liked what we were doing, so we got in this go around. Alderman Hansel is going to serve as the chairperson of the steering committee that we have to have as part of the grant. I haven't met with them yet, so I'm not 100% certain what their timeline is, what the goals are on it, but as soon as I do as we do, either myself or Alderman Hansel will be able to report to you guys about sort of the goals that they're going to have for us and that we're going to set for ourselves to get through. It's a 2-year program, so by 2020, what we'll have accomplished through that program. So good news on that, we got in. The other thing that I needed to bring up was that I have a resolution that did not get in time before the Friday deadline or the Thursday deadline to get on the agenda. It's a house cleaning thing before the end of the year, and Lucas also has a resolution. So I would like to ask you gentlemen to suspend the rules and at some point let us present these 2 resolutions to you to have you vote on them.
Let's do it now.
That's
Make a motion, we'll do that.
We got a motion. Second. And we got a motion and second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Okay, we want to do it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The first resolution there is, it's with our STP funding through the state. We're using it to resurface a couple of streets in Newport. It's been an ongoing thing, and you got to jump through all TDOT's hoops, but we're coming to the end of the year as far as paying the engineer. We hadn't paid him anything yet, and we haven't. We need this resolution so that we can technically legally pay them. So Vaughn and Melton, whenever I did the procurement for services, Vaughn and Melton, and there was another, Matter and Craig was the other firm that applied in, and we're already working with Matter and Craig on the stormwater. So it'd be my recommendation to hire Vaughn and Melton, and that's what the resolution requests, or it will authorize.
You need to vote on that too.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Do I hear a motion to do that?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Hansel,
Second.
Alderman Knight, second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you for all you're doing, Gary.
One thing just to interject on Gary's behalf, this is basically it's grant money. This is money that we got from the state to do some resurfacing of the main, not just the main highways, but the feeder streets like that go, with the main streets that feed into the state highways. So this is some paving money that we have gotten from the state. And so we don't want to lose it, we want to spend it.
I appreciate you making that effort to do it.
The streets are, right now, the first 2 are Heritage and Prospect, and then after we finish that up, we're going to do Morel Springs, because that's a beast. So we'll do probably part of it with the next round of money and then finish it up after, I think, probably 2020. But it's not coming out of our general fund.
I'm glad you let people know
20%.
it. Right.
Yeah, the majority of it's state funding, so it saves us money.
Mr. Hicks, I appreciate what you're doing with the paving stuff too. I've been watching what y'all been doing, making the effort on a lot of things. I just want to tell you, appreciate it. Okay, Mr. Graham?
All right, guys. So I think everyone got a packet handed out to them when you first walked in. This is another housekeeping thing. We've got a project on the table right now, and we're trying to stick to schedule. So I apologize about the late notice. We just got the resolution back in from the attorneys on, I guess it was Thursday afternoon. well, actually late Monday, sorry. So we didn't quite make the deadline for last week, but now you've got it. This is, what this resolution does is it provides the state, we have to have 2 resolutions from the city and from the county for us to apply for the, to use state Anecdotal Code 676104, which was the state legislation we had amended earlier this year that allowed us to participate in sales tax, tax increment, and financing programs. There's multiple projects that we're wanting to use this legislation for, but this is the first of 3. So hopefully we'll have 2 more to present to you coming up in the near future. But I can't say yet what the who the company is until their PR people are giving me permission to do so. But I've spoken to most of you about it individually. But this is a big project for us. It'll really brighten up the 432 exit and be a significant chunk of sales tax revenue that's going to come in off of this project. Again, 676104 is for state sales tax increment of finance. So this basically what that allows us to do is to reallocate the state's portion of sales tax less the 1.5% that's mandatory to go towards education to help offset construction costs for these projects. In this particular case, most of the funding will be used actually to expedite state business and improving the roads and lighting or street lights at the intersection. That's the company has requested that we provide for them. So this is a way for us to pay for that infrastructure, or allow them to pay for that infrastructure and pay them back through state funds.
We appreciate all the work you're doing too, Mr. Graham, on this. I know you got a lot of things on the shelf right now, but we just appreciate the hard work you're trying to do to get this stuff here.
No, thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor, again, I'd like to interject one thing. You know, in talking to some of the folks down at the conference, one of the things that they're really trying to push is this type of a platform, using these state TIFs to try to get some things done, and they're trying to get other cities, and I'm sure counties too, to take advantage of this. And buddy, our guys, Gary and Lucas, are on top of it. They're stacking them, son. I've lost track of how many we're working on. It's like 4 or 5 or something. I'm not exactly sure, but they're begging people at the state to, well, don't know why people aren't taking advantage of it. Well, we're ahead of the curve on that because, like I say, we're throwing them at them big time. So I don't want to get too far off into it, but I think that is a game changer out there if that plays out, and unless we hit a snag, I'm very hopeful about it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You need a vote on yours?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Motion.
Okay, hear a motion that we make that move for the
Resolution. A resolution requesting consideration of an application
67.
for an approval of a proposed commercial development district pursuant to Tennessee Code Anecdoted 676104.
I'll make a motion to accept as written.
There you go.
All in favor say aye.
Second. We need a second.
Oh, Mike.
I thought Mike.
I'm sorry.
You're way behind me.
Go ahead. And it was unanimous.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for your hard work. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the reappointment of the Newport Planning Commission with Cecil Gillen, and Mr. Gillen would like to be put back in there, and I don't see any reason why we can't. We need to have a little vote on it.
Need a motion.
Need a motion for.
Make a motion.
Mr. Smith made the motion. Alderman Smith. Alderman Knight seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. That passed. Okay. The next consideration to the reappointment of the library board and consideration of the appointment of the regional library board, and spoke to Mr. Jeff Fancher, and he'd like to be put back on those boards. And did I hear a motion that we put him back on the board?
Make a motion to put Jeff back on.
Okay, I'll second it.
I know the Dewey Decimal System around, so they'll help you out.
We're not voted yet. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
I was gonna let you know I done my homework.
We already did ours too, that's why we got you back.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda would be, for the Tanner Preservation Alliance. You got anything, Ms. Corleen? Okay, Ms. Garrett?
Our sign will be up before the next council meeting. Or should be.
Oh, no, the mayor's not here, they took that off.
We need to vote on this stuff right here.
Need to vote discussion.
Okay, we're now on the old business. Okay, Mr. Hurst, you read that out,
Yes,
please.
sir. The first ordinance for consideration is ordinance 2018-07, an ordinance of amending the annual operating budget and capital program for the city of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2017-2018. And it would be the second reading.
Make a motion, President.
Okay, you got a motion, and you got a second?
Second.
Need roll call.
Need roll call? Okay, I'll get it. Okay, roll call.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
And next, Mr. Vice Mayor, it's ordinance number 2018-08, an ordinance of amending the annual operating budget and capital program of the city of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2017-2018 for Newport Grammar School.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion to accept.
We got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second by Alderman Hanson. Okay, roll call.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes. Okay,
And third, we have an ordinance 2018-09, an ordinance of the city of Newport, Tennessee, adopting the annual operating and capital budget for the city of Newport and the annual budget for the Newport Grammar School and tax rate for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018 and ending June 30th, 2019.
okay, do I hear a motion? We approve that?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Alderman Hanson made the motion, Alderman Fancher seconded it. Okay, roll call, Ms. Tina.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes. Okay, the next thing on new business.
Yes, sir, that's ordinance number 2018-10, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the city of Newport, Chapter 3, General Provisions, Section 309, Signs, deleting and replacing subsection 3.E.1. Political campaign signs.
Mr. Vice Mayor, this come out of the Planning Commission. I read last time what the new, at the May meeting, what the new ordinance would say for y'all's input. But the Planning Commission has voted on this, and it is a recommendation coming out of the Planning Commission to replace the old political sign ordinance with this that's more comprehensive and will be easier to enforce. And hopefully for everybody to understand, try to keep everybody on the same page.
Appreciate your work on that, Mr. Fancher. All right, do I hear a motion we approve that?
Just make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Did you get that? Okay. Roll call.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Hurst.
Yes, sir. The next ordinance is number 2018-11, ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the city of Newport, Chapter 1, Municipal Planning Commission, deleting and replacing Section 101, creation and membership.
Mr. Vice Mayor, again, this is a recommendation out of the Planning Commission. This was voted on by them. They have had a real problem with getting a quorum here at their meetings in the afternoon, and they have recommended that the board be reduced by attrition. In other words, when an opening comes, it won't be filled, and reduce the number of members from 9 to 7.
Right.
And there is currently an unfilled position, and this position would go away immediately, and then next year we would get the second position.
Okay. It's already been done. Do you need to vote on it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do I hear a motion we approve that?
I make that motion to approve as written.
Alderman Painter approved it. I'll second it. Okay, roll call, Ms. Tina.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes. I appreciate Mr. Fincham, you always informing us of what's going on before the meeting too. I appreciate it. Okay. Mr. Hurst.
The next item is a resolution authorizing the city of Newport to accept the community transportation grant, planning grant.
Okay, I think Mr. Carver's got some comments for that.
Yes, sir. In January, I guess I decided I didn't have enough to do. So this opportunity came up through TDOT to apply for this. I wrote a proposal, and we found out 2 weeks ago that we were accepted, or the proposal was accepted. We have yet to accept the proposal. This will pay a firm. It's an 80-20 split, so the majority of the costs will be absorbed through TDOT. It will create a corridor plan for the area between the two gateways of the new 411 that comes in on the far west end, and where the 321 will come in closer to, is that near Thinwood? Is that, yeah, where it comes in around Thinwood Drive, and because that's one of our best opportunities to develop commercially and residentially over the next 25 to 50 years, because there's a lot of flat land out there, and it's pretty much a clean slate. So we want to be ahead of the game as far as what we can, what we'll be able to be ready for when the development does come. And this will bring in professionals that have the means and the resources that I don't have to help us create that plan. So I would ask you to, I would recommend that we do accept this so that I can work with the firm that we hire to create this plan for the West End corridor.
I don't know where people realize it or not, but Mr. Carver's already about in over $1 million worth of grant money here to Newport and Cocke County, and I'm glad you and Lucas work good together, and you all doing this together, and appreciate what you're doing. Did I hear consideration with approving the city to accept the community transportation?
Motion to approve is written.
Mr. Hansel made the motion.
Second.
Mr. Banker seconded. Okay, roll call, Tina. Ms. Tina?
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, Alderman Banker's got a discussion just for a minute about researching Newport utilities repair work.
Before I get started, I want to echo what Coach said about the remarks and the words we hear about the work that Gary Carver's doing and Lucas that you're doing, kind of fighting the bear with a switch sometimes with some of the money that's out there that other counties have. And there's a lot of people down there that's impressed with what you guys are doing. And I want to say I appreciate it as well, and just keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll try to stick with you the best we can. But I want to discuss this resurfacing that's in conjunction with the Newport Utilities repair work. Of course, this is a well-publicized project that's going on in downtown, and you know, it is a project with a lot of moving parts, and I appreciate Gary and James's input and work on what I've learned thus far from dealing with NUB, the state, and what needs to be done. You know, it's a misconceived notion and idea that the city handles what goes on up and down this road. I know then the latest election, Mr. Hicks's opponent said that, look what Mr. Hicks is not doing to our Broadway. Well, he don't have anything to do with it. And that should have been driven home to begin with, but I'm not here to talk about elections or anything like that. But my point is that there's a lot of moving parts, and I just want to inform the public of what our plans are and the state's plans are with resurfacing Broadway. I'm not a history teacher, but we need to go back 100 plus years when these roads were built. They were built for a horse and buggy, and the weight that's involved with that. You move forward to the progress of paving the road when there's cars and trucks starting coming down the road, and the more weight that's on that surface. I can imagine what it was like back in the day when somebody said they were going to pave that road for the first time. I bet people went crazy over that. But let's move forward to where we're at today. For years, the state of Tennessee has put a Band-Aid over our road. And I'm not here to trash them or anything like that. Go back to the days, those roads were cobblestone, and they still are. Underneath there's cobblestone. I'm not sure the depth of it, but they've been going in and pulling up the pavement, resurfacing over cobblestone. Every time there's a truck or car, that movement. A road project, from what I've been told by TDOT, a good paving job is supposed to last 12 to 15 years. And you know as well as I do, I've been back home for 4 years now. When I moved back home, they were paving, and look what it is right now. And the history is that road lasts 3 to 4 or 5 years before, and then they have to surface it again. Well, it was my wish, and it fell on deaf ears, for TDOT to come in along with what Newport Utilities is doing with this 100-year due project to do what NUB is doing. They are pulling up all the cobblestone. And Mr. Carver, you tell me if I'm wrong here, because I want to be accurate in what I'm saying, and Mr. Hammond, you as well. I'm not an engineer, but you guys, the work that you're doing, you're replacing it with a surface that can be paved over that's going to be solid.
Correct.
Well, my wish was for the state of Tennessee to come in and remove all this cobblestone and loose rock, if you will, on either side of where they're doing work, and let's do what NUB's doing. Well, it's not going to happen because of funds. Well, I've been reassured from from TDOT, and the process that NUB's doing, that they're going to make it a surface that's going to be able to be paved on, and it's going to last for 3 or 4 more years. This is not a city issue, but it is also a city issue when, our roads tear up every 3 or 4 years. I'm hoping that what we're going to be paving with or surfacing with down below the pavement is going to be something that's solid and something that will last more than the 3 or 4 year Band-Aid job that we've had in the past. I think the public needs to know that TDOT and NUB they swear by the under the surface, if you will, of the pavement, that's going to create a surface that is solid and more conducive to a good paving job.
Mr. Hammond, I've been assured by the utilities that they're working with the engineers from the state and know what to do to that road, to take how much asphalt out and place it. It's going to be different this time. It's supposed to be with the compactors and stuff. Is that correct?
Mostly, so we met with TDOT in planning for this project on how first of all, what they expect from us, what we're digging our trenches, and number 2, what they plan to do to follow up behind us. We originally met last May, as you mentioned, was 4 or 5 years ago, and they came to us basically saying, we're having to fix this road too often, and part of the reason we're going to do it is your old railroad utilities. We can't get good compaction. So we agreed that we would bite the bullet and get this project underway before they had to pave again. So we decided to wait till it was time, instead of trying to do a section at a time and keep interrupting the town numerous times, just kind of do it all in one swoop. So in the middle of doing that, in the meetings we had this spring, their intentions, according to them at that time, were to follow up behind us in the spring which gives them time for anything to settle, and to mill off 3 inches and put back 3 fresh inches, and do a better job compacting. But as you mentioned, without the areas that have not been dug for the water and sewer that still have the cobblestone and the old foundation may or may not hold up. So-
That's all you can do, though. That's,
Right.
Mr. Doctor, utility board too, we appreciate what y'all are doing, okay?
Thank you.
Which, I'd like to piggyback some comments on top of Jeff's. I don't want to try to rip any scabs off, but I know we have some local business owners here tonight, and they have suffered from this, and I would like for us as a group, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, I'll ask myself, but can we petition I know we've got some utility board representation here. Would it be possible to give these businesses a free pass, or give them their bills for free for the months that they've been inconvenienced?
You want to answer that, Mr. Fincham?
Well, that's a different issue. That's a NUB issue. That's not our issue. Our issue is the property tax issue.
Oh, okay.
You were talking about their bills or their union?
No, their electric and water bills, if there's some way they could be provided for free for the months that they've been inconvenienced. And I know some people would probably gripe about that, but I don't think everybody that would be griping has been inconvenienced and lost the amount of funding that these businesses have lost.
Mr. Doctor, why don't you mind looking into that, see if there's anything you can do to help?
I don't mind doing that.
You go ahead, get up there.
Just to make sure that I understand the issue. Are we talking about free pass as far as the loss of water or electricity during a period of time? Or are we talking about reimbursement for lost revenue because of an inconvenience?
Well, I think the businesses should be able to provide some sort of documentation to show the loss, and once they can prove that, if they can get a...
Didn't they ask you at the
They
meeting?
did ask me that at the last board meeting, and I promised them that I would do some due diligence in terms of doing that, and seeing what our other utilities are doing. I did that. I contacted KUB, Knoxville, Marshtown Utilities, and Appalachian over to Jefferson City, and one other, I can't recall who it was. And there is no mechanism that they know of or that they've ever used to reimburse because of inconvenience. And I basically told Mr.
Williams.
Keith Williams that the other day. I haven't talked to Ms. Webb yet, but there's no way we can do it. It would be, what would have to happen would be some kind of documentation from the business, and then we're talking about having auditors come in from insurance companies and doing, looking back over the books in 5 years and that kind of thing. It would be a tremendous undertaking to do that.
They said they'd have to have their lawyers and all that stuff.
There's a lot that would have to be done.
Well, I appreciate you checking into it. If there's anything else that Mr. Hanson wants to say or needs to say.
It's seemingly a small handful of businesses, and I would think that there wouldn't be that big of an issue.
Y'all not found a way yet to do it,
Like
though.
small businesses, well, in the beginning, would mushroom pretty quickly if we started paying. Try to reimburse people. As we go down, this project continues down Broadway, you would probably have more and more people to request that kind of thing. Like I said, there's just no mechanism to do it. No one that I talked to has ever done that, so.
And I understand the gravity of the situation. I know it's got to be done, and if people are being inconvenienced, but it just looks like, to me, seemingly there's something that could be done to try to help out.
Short of filing an insurance claim, there's probably nothing that, if they want to file an insurance claim with NUB, possibilities would be they go down to Mr. Fisher's office, who's our insurance carrier, file a claim. They would then call in their underwriters and the lawyers and everybody else, and it would be up to them to decide what can be done. But as far as Newport Utilities reimbursing out of the general fund or anything, we just couldn't do that. I don't see a way we can do it. It would open, I think it would be an entire Pandora's box of issues that probably would just mushroom as time goes by.
Appreciate you making the effort to it. Thank you, Mr. Hanson.
What we had looked at, Mr. Vice Mayor, was the question was asked, could the city look at any kind of property tax relief for those impacted? And the answer to that was no. Legally, we have no authority to relieve anybody of any tax relief for any reason. The only thing that we can legally do is in the event of delinquent taxes, we can, if they appeal that and have a good reason why that they were delinquent, we can forgive penalty and interest. But the property tax themselves, we have no authority to give any kind of property tax relief.
Thank you, Mr. Finchman, Mr. Dyke. Appreciate y'all looking into that for us.
And to piggyback on that, I've been a part of something in Boone, North Carolina, where my business as a partner was, there was zero access for 3.5 months on King Street in downtown Boone for the same type of project. And I understand the dilemma that these businesses went through, and I felt the same pain, but I appreciate Roland digging into that. But one other thing I wanted to say before we move on, there's a lot of people still talk about beautification of our downtown, and I'm terribly a big proponent of that. If there's one thing I think I've failed at as an alderman for 4 years is sticking teeth into some things about beautifying downtown Newport. But I really do feel, with this paving issue behind us here real soon in the spring of 2019, I think we can really continue to do what we want to do. But, some people want cars removed, some people want tires removed, and I understand that. But I just think we just need to keep on biting this elephant one bite at a time, and we'll get some of these things that we all want done.
Being down at the TML, one thing we did learn, ours is not the only city that's going through this. Every one of them said they going through the same thing. So they have people sometimes acting the same way as some of our people acting. It's a common thing. It's not just happening in Newport, Tennessee. It's happening everywhere. All right, on the next situation, consideration of bid for the bulk salt for the city of Newport for fiscal year 2018-19. Okay, Mr. Hicks.
Yes, this is for our bid for the 2018-19 for the salt for the winter. And we looked on a state contract, and it is $84.85. And that's the cheapest we can find. I make a recommendation that you all accept that one.
Is that through Cargill?
Yes.
Cargill.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's the same vendor.
I hear a motion to accept that bid.
I will make that motion.
I hear a second.
Second.
Mr. Knight seconded. Mr. Finch made the motion. Okay, need a roll call or just all ayes? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Motion passed. Okay, Mr. Hicks.
My second item is consideration of the bids for the paving for the city of Newport 2018-2009. We put that out on bids, and we received 2 bids, and one of them didn't meet our specs, and so we only have 1 bid for that, and that's Newport Paving.
Okay, now I hear a motion that we accept Newport's paving bid.
Make a motion to approve that.
Mr. Hansel made the motion. Mr. Knight has the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passed. Thank you
all.
Chief, for what you done. All right, have we got any comments from citizens? We got anybody that's comment from citizens? Okay, then I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. I hear a second?
Second.
I hear
Your third?
okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.